Good morning, good morning. This is Spirit Journey. It's Sunday morning, and I was watching a video, a video that a fellow YouTuber sent me. He sent me, uh, he sent me this video a couple of weeks ago. Um, he had in the section a link, and so I pressed on it today, and the video was about this country in northwest Africa, the country of Mauritania. It's desert like. It was a former French colony. It consists of indigenous black people and Berber groups that live there. They do speak a lot of French there still. So, what the video showed, it was it was an eye opener to me. It was a practice of force feeding your daughters, your young daughters, so that they could become very, very fat. Now, they believe in this particular society, at least in the rural areas amongst the women, to encourage young girls to become fat. I think they said that 1/4 of the people of Mauritania, of the women, are obese. And it's a lot of health problems with being overweight. And it is believed that to become heavy is a sign of your wealth. So these young girls are, if they're force fed to drink milk and couscous. Both, high fat. The milk has a lot of fat in it, and it's whole milk. And the couscous is a starch. And so they're force fed this. And if they attempt to like pull away or regurgitate, they would take these clamps and pinch their toes to force them to drink, or they pinch them on their arm, or the parents put their hands or fingers down the young girl's throat for them to throw up so that they can give them extra milk and stuff. So I thought to myself, I said, wow, just for illusion, the illusion of being wealthy. Mauritania is a traditional Northwest African society. It has a lot of desert, and they don't have money as a whole. It's not a wealthy country. But you want to have your daughters appear wealthy to attract a man, so that so to encourage your daughters to get married. So it's all about marriage, to secure women to become married so you're taken care of. Wouldn't it be better, rather than buying this milk to make your daughters overweight and destroy their health, to maybe educate them so that they could become scientists, create great inventions, to build that society, to encourage wealth that way. But instead, they do this superficial to make you fat so that someone would think you have money, even though you're poor. See, illusion is a sickness. The illusion and the desire of what's not real again. See, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a pattern amongst people of the African diaspora and people still living in Africa about the illusion and the false reality of things to make you behave a certain way that is detrimental to your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. I think of like where I live in the United States of America. And you have a lot of women of the African diaspora and how some of the women, they want to buy things like these designer handbags. These are like status items. These bags are worth, could if you get a real bag, see, there's a lot of bootlegging also. But these handbags, designer handbags, are worth in the hundreds and maybe even in the thousands. But these handbags, it's something you don't have to do anything, but just have it on you, so that people think you have money. Because if you have it, then you must have money. Well, somebody might be able to, maybe some do have the actual thing, but they invest all their savings for this bag that can fall out of fashion. Well, they say, oh, that's last year's bag. Oh, you couldn't afford to buy this year's bag? It's pathetic. And a lot of these women live in what they call ghettos, poor, oppressed neighborhoods where little real industry of wealth and power exists. They usually don't work in these neighborhoods. They work elsewhere because their own neighborhoods don't have they can't afford to give them the money that they may wish to get. But they come into these, they live in these areas, but they too want to be considered wealthy. They want to be considered people of means. But when you hear them speak, and right off by how they speak of their social economic status, of poverty, they may be, or a lot of times they're overweight. And it's a lot of obesity in these poor neighborhoods because there's no real food there. It's all processed food. They cannot afford produce, like their greens, their veggies and fruits. So they buy processed food, like the white rice. Breakfast cereal, actually breakfast cereals are expensive, but it's a high sugar, high calorie food. And they eat this. So they gain a lot of weight, because these foods, these processed foods, they have calories, but they don't have well micronutrients, the minerals and the vitamins. It's lacking this. So they excuse me. So they have to eat more and more of their garbage food or candies, the treats. See, the treats are relatively inexpensive and it can knock out their hunger, but it's just fat, sugar, and salt in it. And so it increases their weight. And it's a fast food, so they don't want to cook for their children a healthy meal because they have to race out the house to get to their work. And so they give their kids this fast food, you know, and it's just results in a poor health status. But they want people to think they're rich, so they buy these designer handbags or these designer fancy looking shoes, or they get their nails done and they get these claw nails. They get hair weaves. So these things are statusy things to help boost your social status of perception of maybe having some money over the other girl. They're also getting these butt implants and breast implants in these neighborhoods. Yes, good morning, viewer, good morning. I welcome you to the chat to say a hello. So now, these women, they may they may be competing with each other. Who has more bling bling? Whose hair weave is longer, the more flamboyant, and it's all about looking more attractive. And being perceived as wealthy is a beauty. But it's something they don't really have to think about. It's this beauty and perceived wealth is something they don't have to think. They don't have to really do. See, studying hard in school requires effort, and they don't want to really do an effort to really get the wealth. They want quick money. So some of them may want to become what they call an exotic dancer. That's another word for a stripper. It's quick money, but it's a dead end. And it's deprecating to you as a woman. But it's done. And you don't develop your mind, and you're not really encouraged education because that requires too much time and effort. So your community really becomes dead and no real life and wealth in it. Everything is about a quick fix, the illusion of wealth. And then I'm reminded of another country in the Americas, in Brazil. Brazil has a very large black community, but it's really not addressed. It's covered up, but it's a very big country with a lot of black people and a lot of mixed races as well. I remember watching a story of Brazil and carnival that is done there in Brazil. And this one woman, this one brown-skinned black woman with children, and she has to work extra hours, just try to get as much money as possible for carnival for her kids to attend. They buy the material and make the costumes for their children, and they buy the boots so they can look sharp for this carnival, uh, which is done in Brazil and other places in the Americas. And the woman was saying that, don't judge her, that, you're not respecting her because she's preoccupied with doing this for her kids. And she really feels she's doing the best for her kids for this carnival. So again, it's about the illusion again of wealth for a 1, 2, or 3 day event or a week event of partying. So they can look at your kid and say, oh, she has money for the fabric, for the costume. Oh, I'm wealthy, but their education poor. This mother, in my opinion, is short-sighted. Now I can see this woman investing all her pennies to save money for maybe college for that kid, or prep school or something, or buying books and teaching them different subjects of science or medicine and all these things, so that it could be added onto the community to be a service to the community. Education, and the right education, is an asset to any society, especially a poor one. So these women with different motivations, and each one of these mothers, believe they're doing the best for their kids, especially their daughters. The illusion of making your daughters look more desirable to some guy. Well, when they get married, the guy's going to know you don't have a pot to piss in. So where does it help you? So again, it's about trickery, of making them think they have something. And I know someone very close to me who wanted, again, the illusion to be more desirable to this man, to make the man think that she comes from money. And how some of these new immigrants to the United States do it. They say, oh, back home I got land. Land is a sign of wealth. If you have land, and especially if it's a viable property, and you're doing things with it to make you money. It's not just having the land, it's producing on that land some type of commerce, real commerce. She didn't have a pot to piss in either. And the person foolishly married this person. And in fact, the man had more money and resources than her. She actually was I shouldn't say a poor woman, but she wasn't rich. And jeopardizing the guy's health as well, and forcing him to work extra rather than she. So be careful, people, about the people who you are dating, about the resources. See, it's more than just their clothes. It's the whole package. What are they really about? What do they really have? And why try to marry wealth? Become wealthy on your own and have self-respect in the process. That self-respect that you develop from the inside out, rather than creating an illusion of garbage, of emptiness, of forming relationships. Why force your daughters to marriage? Traditional society. See, it's the daughters that really make the society what it is. It creates the home culture, and belief systems. You educate your daughters. An educated mother can teach her children how to read and write and do math and teach them the foundations of what can build a society. Create intelligent people. Create people who are educators to build this society. A fat society is a sick society. So yes, maybe you eventually get your fat daughters married off from these countries, and in this example, the country of Mauritania in Northwest Africa. You may be able to get them married off, but they live sickly, and their home is not viable. They're poverty-stricken. So I felt this is important to share my channel, Spirit Journey, because this is a spiritual journey of enlightenment about breaking the illusion of wealth, of power. Become wealth and power from the inside out. Wealth isn't a handbag, a bling bling. Wealth is something that grows and grows and grows and flourishes and thrives and has complete wellness. Mauritania is a poor country. Now I am not this video, this live stream is not about trashing the women of Mauritania. It's not about trashing the American blacks and Caribbean women that's living in the United States of America. This live stream is not about trashing the women of color of Brazil. Not at all. This live stream is about awakening, about breaking the illusion to make you acceptable for some guy to pull you out of poverty. Instead, pull yourself out of poverty by enlightening yourself, enlightening your mind to become knowledgeable, to become your personal excellence. This is just food for thought for this Sunday morning. And may this video enrich everyone who watches it. I wish you all, regardless of your race, nationality, religion, I wish you all blessings upon blessings. Educate your daughters, not trying to make them obese and purchase bling bling for them. So the appearance and the illusions of wealth